Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/INTB and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's easy. Go to audibletrial.com/INTB.
Honestly, they're not that bad.
Welcome to a new episode of It's Not That Bad Podcast. I am Fern here with Dom.
Hey, everybody.
So last week we reviewed Underwater. And we gave it pretty rave reviews. And spoiler alert, if you didn't know, skip ahead because we're going to be talking about this. But at the end of the movie, obviously, this monster comes out, right? Well, after doing some searching, aka watching interviews, find out that was all intentional.
Yeah, the director said that he said it is Cthulhu, but that he didn't want to outright say it, right, or something.
Yeah, and basically, the short story, The Call of Cthulhu, I guess kind of mimics what happened. In the story, they don't go down or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't fully adapt.
Yeah, but he was saying, like, the themes and all this stuff, and it was like... So you're right.
I know. I was like, you know what? That's a good way to do it, is to, like, take this, like, story, but you don't just straight up adapt it. You change it enough to make it more modern, especially because back then it was more about, like, the Euclidean geometry of the temple, and also I don't like black people because H.P. Lovecraft was super racist.
But, like, the coolest thing is not only does that kind of open up this box of sorts of what you can do, but it also, like we've been talking about how it's been accidental, is kind of like, maybe this is what we should get more in film.
Yeah.
We've said this, I want to say we talked about this last week or the week before, whatever, but the one thing that we really enjoyed about Glass and what that all meant was that these movies prior to were origin stories without them being necessarily origin stories for this universe. Like, Unbreakable obviously is an origin story, whatever, right? But when we got Split, no one thought they connected. Yeah, like, why would anyone think they connect? There was nothing in there that connected them until the end.
It was only until that very fucking little part at the end, which was like, oh yeah, also, like, the guy from Unbreakable, he exists in this universe.
And I know that you weren't a big fan of Unbreakable.
Yeah.
But the fact that he could do that.
Exactly.
Was like, that movie's like fucking 15 years old.
That's why I constantly am flip-flopping on him so much on M. Night, because it's like, now I like him again, because I'm like...
For now.
Yeah, exactly. Because Split and Glass are just, like, they're great, they're amazing movies. Like, they are awesome. And then the fact that, yeah, like you said, like, that's the type of thing we like to do, where it's like, give you a story, we don't tell you, like, it connects to this, but you see something here and there, and it's like, oh, so it connects to that then. And it's like, yeah, but we don't want to shove it in your face where it's like, I would rather, like, a character from something, like, show up and it's like, oh, they're actually just doing their job in this universe. Oh, that's why they're here.
Yeah. Honestly, that was really cool about The Endless.
Yeah. He
had this whole story prior to, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're watching The Endless, you have no idea that you're going to see the two guys from Resolution. Even though now it totally makes sense.
Yeah. It's funny, too, because it's like, they kind of tell you at the beginning, like, this is connected to that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're right. Like, the fact that they show up, you're like, holy shit. Like, yeah, I knew it was, like, connected, but, like, now it makes it, like, it just, like, affirms it, like, that much more.
And I don't know. It's just, I think because we're in this age with remakes and revamps and hey, you know that movie a couple years ago that made a lot of money but everyone hated? Yeah, we're just going to remake it again. But, like, it's not the same, but it's not a sequel, but it's not new. But we're still going to do it. And we get to a point where we're like, why?
Yeah.
Right? Why? Just move on. And, I mean, we're saying this as complete fanboys of Marvel who are like, another movie connects? Yes.
Yeah.
But that's because that's what Marvel does.
Yeah.
That's all it does. The reason why I feel Star Wars was received the way it was because everyone was waiting for whatever they had in their head. And Disney didn't help by trying to connect everything.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what was polarizing with The Mandalorian, is that you got this character you don't know anything about. Then they bring this other character in who is like, wait, what the But I thought Yoda's not the last. But then what is so? Huh?
Yeah.
And the thing is, this takes place in a time where whoever that baby is,
Yeah.
you would think that we would know about it by now because we're 30, 20 something years removed.
It's 30 something.
Yeah. But we don't know. It's just refreshing knowing that we can get this, where we don't have to have every single thing tied in, even though it does tie in, like the Darksaber.
Yeah.
Right? That's super cool to see, but it's loosely, right? And that's kind of, I think, why we like these movies. Like, we like these ideas, how they basically gave us a Cthulhu movie without having to be like, and then I call on the Cthulhu, the master of darkness. Like, it's no shit. It's just like, oh, whoops, we did that. But I don't know. It's such a cool concept, right?
Yeah.
That you can tell this entire story without having to do all of this like deep. Oh well, let's get into this and I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes that shit's cool. Like when you see something and it comes about and then blah 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 blah, and in the end it's like, oh. But the thing is, we don't need that all the time.
No, and I think that also goes to why we liked Prometheus more than like other people, is because it was this other side of the story. Like, did we need this? No, but the fact that Ridley Scott had this idea, right? That he's like, I wanted to tell this other story.
I don't know. It's just it's an intriguing idea that has been going around for a while, and it's something that is very cool to see now, where we have a lot of these connected universes and this is a sequel and this and that, but it's not so much over the head. It's like the little Easter eggs used to get and whatever, and it's like, oh, see, that's a callback to this.
Yeah.
It's just really cool to see. And yeah, hopefully Underwater can do well enough or make some sort of cult following where we could get a part 2 of some sort, because it would be kind of cool to see.
Very cool.
You know, what happens in the future or what happened the first time.
That's true. Yeah, will you get a prequel?
I don't know. Who knows? Anyways.
This is the fucking news.
So, speaking of Star Wars and expanding the universe, just recently it was announced that Taika Waititi is in talks to develop a Star Wars film. Whether or not that's like a continuation or like some kind of spin-off or like a prequel like set before, we don't know anything yet about that. But we have seen him in The Mandalorian. But also, isn't this great that we're finally going to have someone to save Star Wars? Because, I mean, yeah, Kathleen Kennedy and all those at Star Wars, Lucasfilm, they need to get out of the way first. But now that Taika Waititi's there, he's going to save Star Wars, right? Because Star Wars needs saving. Because look at what JJ Abrams did with Star Wars and how horrible he messed it up.
I don't know. It's cool, but the fandom kills it. I mean, we're a fan of Taika Waititi through and through.
Yeah.
Love everything he's done. Green Lantern's okay. But it's the fans idolizing this idea that look at what he did with Thor.
Yeah.
He made Thor so good, and it's like Thor was good.
Yeah.
He just made it fantastic.
Yeah.
Having this idea that he's gonna save it, and it's like, yeah, until he writes a character in there or moves this plot line in a way that you're like, wait, what?
Yep.
So you're saying he has like moral values and like respects women? So this is dumb. Oh,
Yeah.
Disney got a hold of. Oh,
They
he's a
Disney-fied it.
yeah, he just did whatever Disney wanted to. Oh, they totally neutered him. Oh, we could have had a great film.
Yeah. Oh, I just got a hold of the script that they originally wrote, and it was so much better than what they gave us. Yeah, I agree. I don't think resting all of your faith in one person as like a savior is stupid, because we've seen what happens when you do that. Like Joss Whedon, they brought him in to help with Justice League because Zack Snyder he stepped down. And so they're like, well, of course it's going to be a good movie. He's our savior. He made Avengers. And it's like, you fucking, god damn it. I hate fans. I hate the fandom sometimes.
And I think that's what's really upsetting is we can't be that happy because we know that something goes wrong, then everyone's going to hate him.
Yeah.
It's going to be this, whatever. And then if something goes right, they're going to be like, yeah, see, we knew all along. It's like, no, you have no fucking say in it. Mm-mm. You have nothing to do with it.
No.
It's Disney and him and a bunch of writers and producers and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You have no say. Doesn't matter what you say. Even when you think it matters what you say, it really doesn't. But that's what's most upsetting is that as cool as this sounds, and I do hope that he does something, whether it's a TV show or one-off, or maybe they give him a series of movies. I don't know. But knowing that he can do these big movies, but still have like his small like director mind, it's fascinating. But the fandom just makes it feel like, okay.
I don't know. It's just, yeah, you're right. I feel like it's stupid to pin your hopes on one person, even though it is someone who is has a great track record. But like, yeah, like you said, he could, for all we know, give us something that's not great. And
honestly, we'll probably end up liking
oh yeah,
it
we're gonna love it probably no matter
just
what.
Like when we left Solo, we were like, that's actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, Solo's a good movie.
Even though everyone hated it. Oh, I'm never watching that Star Wars movie.
That was such a good movie though.
Yeah. So there's a 99.9% chance that we're gonna go out of the movie liking it. But it's just what comes with that movie is what we're worried about. We're worried about the fanboys, quote unquote, winning and showing us, see, when you give this male director all the ring to do what he wants, you get a great movie. And then as soon as you start to point out, like, hey, yeah, but he did this, what you hated in this movie, and he pushed this narrative, which you definitely didn't want in this movie, and he also had this and this, and you hate this, they'll be like, no, but see, but they did it differently in this movie, and that's why I hate it. That's honestly what I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I guess I could stomach them bitching, but when they try to grab a win out of nowhere and say like, yeah, see, we did this.
Yeah.
Like how some people love the new Star Wars because Kathleen Kennedy, like, she's out of there. It's like, no, she's in a bigger position.
Yeah, but then before than you think it is. So Justice League Dark movies and a TV series, or I guess it might be multiple TV series, are in the work from JJ Abrams. He's coming to save the DC universe because I can't wait to see what he does, right? This is JJ Abrams. I like most of what JJ Abrams does. But the fact that, once again, okay, wow, Aquaman was great. I mean, Wonder Woman was fine, but Aquaman was great. Did you see Aquaman? It was so great. Shazam was okay, but Aquaman was like hilarious and fun. It was what we wanted.
It was fine.
Sorry, I'm a DC fan, so Aquaman.
So you hate all the bad stuff? No,
there's no bad stuff.
You love all the bad stuff.
There's only Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam.
Wait, so is this a separate thing again?
Like, it's going to connect, I guess, to everything. So they're talking about how, like, the original team includes, like, John Constantine, Madame Xanadu, Deadman, Shade, the Changing Man, and Zatanna, whatever. But this is basically, like, early, like, stages of everything, like, in talks. I mean, I think it's going to tie into... I mean, obviously, with the Crisis on whatever, I think they're like hitting hard on like everything is connected now. Everything is canon.
You see?
Yeah.
That's what we said.
Yeah. Which I think what they might do is like the TV series might be a new TV series, but like connected to the CW stuff. And then like do live action stuff, but that's connected to the like Shazam and all that.
So
But it's all connected because Crisis on Infinite Earth said it's all connected.
The Constantine TV show we had already.
That doesn't count. Well, it does because Crisis on Infinite Earth says it counts.
So is this going to be a part of Earth Prime? That's the CW TV shows. That's what they call themselves, Earth Prime.
I don't know. It's like they barely started like saying like that he's.
Yeah. No, I like the idea of everything connecting.
Yeah.
Because in that Crisis thing, they showed basically everything minus the movies.
Yeah.
And it showed like the DC network shows.
Mm-hmm.
They're a part of it.
Tangentially.
They're a part of it, but just in their universe.
Yeah. They're part of a bigger multiverse.
Yeah. Superman Returns movie.
Yeah.
It's a part of it.
Is canonical, but only in a different universe.
So that's cool.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. I mean, it's not necessarily for me anymore. I don't give a shit about those shows.
No.
I barely give a shit about the movies.
I know.
The characters are what I like the most.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because the Constantine TV show, everyone loved.
Yeah.
They just canceled it because they're like, well, it's not doing that well. But the funny part is, everyone loved it so much that they got that guy to come back.
As Constantine, right?
Yeah. So it's like, why won't you just focus on that and try to revamp that? So it's still...
What if they get him to be Constantine again?
Then that would be better.
I would actually enjoy that because it's like it would make sense, right? Because it's like
you could do like a soft reboot where it's the same character and everything, but everything just feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
It just looks a little bit different, feels a little bit different. There's a plane and people are dead on the island. Oh wait.
What? That's not no. They weren't dead in the end. God damn it. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't understand what DC's trying to do because they're trying to give us like a Harley Quinn movie, right? Which I'm all for. That's awesome. But it's still the same Harley Quinn that's from like Suicide Squad. But then it's funny because it's like, but that has Ben Affleck's Batman, which means that ties to the other. Like, see, it's like, but now they're trying to say like, oh, it doesn't connect to that stuff, right?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, it does?
It has to.
Damn it. I like that they do that in Aquaman too, where it's like, oh, like we could get the Justice League to help with this world-ending event, but just Aquaman is fine.
This is an underwater thing. They don't need to worry about that.
And then, like, with, like, the Suicide Squad, it's the fact that it's not a sequel. It's not a like it's not like they're pushing that old one out of the canon and like saying, oh, this one is like the true. It's like they're wanting to have both ways.
Yeah.
They're wanting to keep it, but like at the same time be like, but this one's gonna be the good one because we brought in James Gunn. God damn it.
See, the thing is though, DC had an easy way out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
By just making these movies not connect anymore.
Yeah.
But they keep wanting to stay that way, even when they have success doing the other thing. The Joker doesn't do shit to any other movie.
No.
And it's like their best movie they released. But the Harley Quinn thing, I think would have been funny is if that is a separate universe and then all of a sudden Batman's different and Joker's different.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, so what? Wait, what universe is this? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, it's a different universe.
Because they could do they've already set it up like that with the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing. They literally could do that because the one thing they could do is to preview Robert Pattinson's Batman is have him cameo in it, and then you're like, oh, so this is like it's the same actress as Harley Quinn, but this Harley Quinn just exists in a different universe.
Yeah, this isn't Earth 56. This is Earth 65. See what I mean? Like they could have done, and as choppy as that seems, of wait, but you just took her and then you put her in a different. It's like, yeah, that's fine because that's what happens in the universes.
Yeah,
that's literally what happens in the universe.
That's what happens in the comics constantly.
Yeah. They even make jokes about it in that fucking TV show.
And
how like that Brandon Roush, whatever, he plays a character on the TV shows, but then he came back as Superman
because he plays like the Atom or whatever, and then then he plays Superman.
So you had this opportunity to do that. We thought Shazam should have done that.
Shazam totally should have done that. Well, and the fact that they didn't show Superman's face, they could have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what you're trying to do.
And the funniest part about it is, like, we're not even talking shit about DC. We're literally talking about how they could get better with it. But DC's the one that's like, no, we're going to put our own foot up our own ass because we know what we're doing. You know that Birds of Prey movie that everyone loved? Yeah, we re-edited it so it's not that good because that's what people like. Didn't you see the original Suicide Squad? That movie was horrible, but it made millions of dollars. We can't just put a great movie out and expect not. Don't be dumb.
I don't know.
It's cool, but if they just do this correctly from now on, I don't want the Robert Pattinson movie to connect in any way. Just give me that. Look at how well Joker did. Doesn't connect in any way. Don't connect that Joker in this Batman.
Yeah. Oh God, I really hope they don't. But yeah, I think you're right because I like the fact that they're casting their own like Penguin and like other villains. I forgot who else is gonna be. Like the Riddler's gonna be in it, right? And the fact that they're like if they did their own Joker, right? Like get someone, just find someone new, right?
I mean, we'll see. You know.
I mean, I'll probably watch the movie.
Yeah, I'll watch the movie, but the TV show, I mean, unless it's really good.
Yeah, unless it's not CW, then yeah, I'll check it out.
Good morning, winner. Take a deep breath. Visualize the mountain of your success and look down at everyone who's ever doubted you. Fuck those losers. Fuck them in their stupid fucking faces.
Oh shit! Are we gonna go to school or? Nope.
What's 2 plus 2? 4, 3, 2.
Isn't it crazy that it's the last day of school? Are you kidding me, Samantha? Go talk to her. She's got a really cute smile. Amy, do you know how many girls are gonna be up your vagina next year? Every time I come to visit you, you're gonna be scissoring a different girl. Dude, scissoring is not a thing. Don't knock it until you tried it. Don't knock it until you tried it. Ow!
It's the last day. We got you through high school.
I need to go over the end of the year budget numbers.
Can't we just graduate, head off to college? That should do it, right?
We will persist.
I can't hear you. I can't soundproof glass.
We have to go to a party tonight.
What?
Nobody knows that we are fun. We didn't party because we wanted to focus on school and get into good colleges. And it worked. But the irresponsible people who partied also got into those colleges.
I'm incredible at hand jobs, but I also got a 1560 on the SATs.
We haven't done anything. We haven't broken any rules.
Name one person whose life was so much better because they broke a couple of rules.
Picasso.
He broke art rules.
Rosa Parks.
Name another
Susan B. Anthony.
God damn it.
Picture this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips.
Hand sanitizer.
Check.
Chapstick.
Check.
Mace. Listen, it is very important that you keep the safety. Oh!
The safety on! Don't touch your eyes!
What the fuck is this?
Me ask the questions!
Oh my god.
What more can I say?
Well, this seems excessive. Shotgun. Just kidding. I don't have one. Don't say we're having a date night.
Why? It's funny your parents think we're boning.
What you two have is special.
We are going to show each other how much we care about each other.
We'll probably just do a Korean face mask.
I don't need to know all the words.
Hey, y'all feeling it?
Booksmart is a 2019 American coming-of-age comedy film. Directed by Olivia Wilde, screenplay by Emily Halpern, Sarah Haskins, Susanna Fogel, and Katie Silberman. Amy and Molly, played by Caitlin Deaver and Beanie Feldstein, respectively, are two high school seniors who have been best friends since childhood, but are considered pretentious by their peers. Amy has been out for 2 years and has a crush on a girl named Ryan. Molly urges Amy to attempt to forge a relationship with her before they graduate. On the eve of their high school graduation, Molly overhears classmates talking about her in the bathroom. She confronts them and tells them that she got into Yale, but they reveal that despite partying, they too got into prestigious colleges. Stunned, a panicking Molly rages while all her classmates celebrate the end of final year. Molly angrily tells Amy they should have enjoyed their time in high school more. She proposes they go to a graduation party held by Nick at his aunt's house, though initially reluctant, Amy accepts. The pair quickly realize that neither of them knows the address of Nick's party. Molly calls Jared, played by Skylar Gisondo, a wealthy classmate who likes her. He brings them to his unattended party on a yacht, where they encounter his drug-crazed friend Gigi, played by Billy Lord. Amy suggests they go home, having fulfilled their plan to party before graduation, but Molly calls a Malala, their code for unconditionally doing what the other wants to do, and Amy consents to continue with the night. The girls call a lift and are shocked to be picked up by their principal, Jordan Brown, played by Jason Sudeikis. After the girls accidentally play pornography through his car speakers, Brown drops them off at what they think is Nick's aunt's house. It turns out to be their classmate George's house, who's hosting a murder mystery party. They encounter Gigi again, who reveals that the strawberries they ate on the yacht were drugged. Amy and Molly soon experience a bad trip and hallucinate that they are George's sister's dolls. They escape George's house and get the location of the party from a pizza delivery man. Amy accidentally leaves her phone in his car. Molly's phone is nearly dead, lasting just long enough to call their teacher, Miss Fine, played by Jessica Williams, who gives them a change of clothes and a ride to Nick's party. When they arrive, Amy goes to talk to Ryan, and Molly goes to talk to Nick, on whom Gigi got her to confess she has a crush. Amy finds Ryan making out with Nick. Embarrassed and heartbroken, Amy wants to leave. She finds Molly and calls her own Malala, but Molly refuses to grant it, thinking she has a chance with Nick. This sends Amy into a rage, and she reveals that she is taking a gap year to travel to Botswana, as she resents how Molly always tries to control her life. The two loudly argue in front of their classmates, and Amy runs to the bathroom, finding Hope, played by Diana Silvers, her classmate, already in there. They are first combative towards each other, but then Amy kisses Hope. They start to have sex, but Amy vomits on her, ruining the moment. Cops show up and the partygoers scatter. Molly, unable to find Amy, is driven home by AAA, played by Molly Gordon, a popular student with a reputation for promiscuity, and the two bond over their stereotypes that both have suffered from. Molly wakes up on graduation day, regretting what happened between her and Amy. She discovers on her phone everyone is talking about how cool Amy was for creating a diversion at the party, allowing everyone else to escape the police and getting herself arrested. Molly visits Amy in jail and apologizes for her manipulative actions, leading to the pair's reconciliation. Molly learns the pizza driver is a serial killer, and they trade the information to get Amy out of jail. They take Jared's car to graduation, where Molly kisses Jared on stage and gives an improvised valedictorian speech, receiving a standing ovation. A few days later, as Molly helps Amy prepare for her trip to Botswana, Hope comes to the door and gives Amy her number. Molly subsequently drives Amy to the airport, where they share a tearful goodbye. As Molly drives away, Amy jumps in front of her car, saying she has time to hang out before her flight. She suggests they get pancakes, and Molly ecstatically accepts.
Booksmart. A movie that has no books and very little smarts. It was a movie, and it came out.
That's true.
How do you feel about it?
I really like the movie, right? It's really good. I think also for being Olivia Wilde's directorial debut, I think this is a good one. The only thing I would say is, like, I think a lot of the side characters were a lot funnier than the main characters, because there's, like, Billy Lord's character is hilarious, and the one kid, Jared, he's fucking hilarious. But even like the one guy who's wanting to get with the teacher, like they're all like way funnier than, like, and I feel like it kind of, I get that I think that's what they were going for, but like I think though, I wish they would have just been a little bit funnier. I think towards the end they get funnier.
I think what they're going for is that they're just these corny middle class white chicks, right?
Yeah.
That to them this is fun and exciting, and they have their little gas ups and stuff, but everyone else is like kind of normal in a sense.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing they're trying to paint.
Yeah. Okay. I think I like it a little bit more than I think I did. Like, it's a really good film. It is really good. Would I say that it deserves like 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes, like almost 100%? No. I think I'd give it like a, if it was like, if someone told me this movie had 85%, I'd be like, yeah, there you go. That sounds about right. I think a lot of people gave it a higher thing because it's like, well, they're women. Oh, look how funny they are. It's like, yeah, they're pretty fucking funny, but I think it's the same thing they did with Bridesmaid, where they're like, oh, just because they're women and they're doing comedy, we like, oh, it's so much funnier. And it's like, yeah, it's a funny movie, but like, it's not as funny as I feel like people make it out to be. Like, that
I didn't find that movie very funny at all. But everyone was telling me it was hilarious.
There's a lot. Melissa McCarthy is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think Rose Byrne too. She's, for being like, I love that she does more comedy now, because she's actually a really like comedic actress. But like everyone else, it's like, oh, they're just doing okay. But I think really what it was is because Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not the Bridesmaids of the year. But I think what held me back on watching it was everyone praising it as this like fantastic film, and that, oh, this is 1 in a million and whatever. But it's like, we've seen this. The story isn't anything new.
No, it's super bad.
It's just changed a little bit.
It is, it's super bad, but women.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because this movie was actually on the blacklist originally, and like the story for it was that they were trying to find prom dates, and neither of them was gay, and it's like, okay, but like I think that might have been a little bit more interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like them trying to find, like, these characters trying to find prom dates would have been a little bit funnier.
It honestly would, because it felt very rushed. Because we're supposed to believe that these people are so dedicated and smart and all this stuff, but they're oblivious to everyone around them.
Yeah.
That's what was funny, but dumb. It's how everyone's like, wait, you're going to Stanford? And they're like, yeah, but you're a fucking idiot. And it's like, Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is funny because that is kind of true, right?
Yeah.
But the way that they played it out in this movie was like, that's unbelievable because you guys would have known this by now. But the prom dates...
remember, the reason why they don't know is they actually do kind of explain it. Remember, they say that, like, the rule is that if you don't want to know what school you're going to, they don't have to tell you what school you're going to.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I missed that. But nonetheless, like, even at a regular school,
I know.
Like, oh, yeah, like, this guy's going to go to, community college instead, or, oh, they're taking a year off, or you're going up north. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and they're teenagers. Of course they're going to tell everyone, oh, hey, I got into something called Stanford.
But the thing is, that was the only weird part because it just, to me, it didn't make sense because they were very involved in everything that was academic, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the one thing that is very academic to everyone else, getting to college, something that they never heard about or never found out? But I think it would have made it for a more interesting movie if it was a prom thing, because a prom thing is getting ready towards the end.
Yeah.
A prom thing is, hey, we're going to have prom, and after prom, we get ready to graduate. It's going to be fantastic.
And they still could have brought up the whole issue of, like, where she didn't tell her about, like, taking the year off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wait, you didn't tell me about this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, because you're so controlling and blah, blah. Like, you could have literally had that whole scene play out still.
Yeah. That weird little detail, it's like, that would be way more interesting. And I guess maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's a thing where it's like, well, yeah, but we didn't want it to sound sexist, but you didn't have to have it sexist. The whole movie did very well saying, like, hey, we're very progressive and we're not stuck in, like, old tropes of doing this and that, or we could have this being normal or whatever. They could have easily done some shit like that where... Maybe even that. Maybe they're like, well, what if we just go together? And she's like, well, I kind of want to, ask my crush out, but I'm so afraid because she might say no. Yeah,
because the way that the movie presents this is like, it's the last day of school and you're barely going to talk to her. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's, and then, like, she's leaving in a few days, too. Like, we see that. So it's like, yeah, it would have made more sense if it was prom, because it's like, you could have also made a bit like a deal of like some dumb like excuse for like why like oh she's going with her, what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or not. They could have just
They
could have just had these two nerds. Like they literally could have just had these two nerds trying to find dates because they realized that school's ending and college is coming up and everything's moving too fast.
And the fact that they like, you could also do like the whole thing like, we never cut loose. We never do anything crazy. Prom is like the perfect time to do that. Like, and then like, and one thing though I will say is they do a good job of like capturing like teenagers, I guess, nowadays. Like they did get that down. But even for them being like so nerdy and stuff, I feel like they still would have been involved with these people. Like the way that they make it seem like is that they know, like they've known them for forever, but yet they don't know them. It's weird. Like Jared and all them. They know them, right? But they don't know them. But it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And I mean, you can easily say, oh, it's because they were wrapped up in themselves, which is true. I mean, there's people out there who want to only hang out with one person or do this one thing, and they would rather like, oh, well, we could go here, but like we could just stay home, or we could go here and stay. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, but I don't know. I just, it was fine. Like, it's funny. The people in it are good. The story's okay. The way they do their friendship's pretty good. I do like the ending.
Yeah, I do too.
What's your name? Hooking up with the bullies. It's kind of funny. Kind of weird, but kind of funny.
Oh, with Hope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just it's like random, just like, oh, okay. I guess that's what kids do these days.
I do like how the teacher decided to go into the party too.
Oh yeah, she said, fuck it.
Yeah, like, see, there's a lot of funny. This movie is funny, But I just think like a lot of the comedy comes from other people when it's like, I don't know, like shouldn't it come from them a little bit more?
I know. That's what I felt. After I watched it, I was like, that is a good movie.
You know what it is? I think this movie is Superbad meets Lady Bird.
They're not super bitches.
Yeah.
Just kind of bitchy.
Yeah.
I can see that. Which isn't bad.
No, I mean, it's shot really good. Like I said, Billie Lourd's hilarious. Like, I love when she's trying to get her to smoke the weed, and then he's like, you can't smoke up here. And she's like, what did you just say to her? And she's like, I don't think he's talking to her. He's like, no, you can't smoke up here.
She's like, how did you get here?
Yeah. And then she's like, she goes on the walk and she's like, light him up.
Then she say like, this is my best friend or whatever. Or she's out of the party like, what the fuck? Yeah, that was funny. And yeah, see, like, it did good for what it was doing because you're right. Like, when, what's his name? Jared?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he explains, like, their friendship, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It provokes the emotions that you want it to, and it does a lot of stuff really well. It's a solid, funny movie, but I think a lot of people were giving it more credit than it should have. Like, I'm not saying that it's not worth it, but
for directorial debut, yes.
Yeah.
She hits out of the park. But I think story-wise, it's like a B+.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching mid-90s. The reason why I love that was because it felt super authentic. Yeah. This movie felt like a movie they were trying to create, but in a good way. Like it was good.
I think we're gonna sound like we're complaining a lot, but we're trying not to.
Well, the reason why, I guess future reference, is that we're gonna go over the Oscars after, and I'm pretty bad at remembering like what came out this year or whatever for everything. Like that's why I don't make
I know.
I don't make like top 10 albums of the year because I'm like, what the fuck came out? Nothing came out. Then I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, all this came out. So I'm just not good at that. But I've been recently compiling all the films from last year, and just by going through that, it's like, fuck, there's so much like better movies.
Honestly, if she was nominated for this, I would be like, yeah, you know what? She kind of deserves it because this is the type of thing that I think we should give like a nomination for. Because it's like your first time and you're able to pull something off like this. Because it could have been complete shit, right? It could have been a terrible movie. Like the movie could have itself been like, oh, ha, ha,
like
I
super
guess.
lowbrow.
Yeah, or something stupid. But the fact that she was on her game when she did this. This is their first time putting a movie together, and they're able to like give you something this good.
And like I said, we'll get into all of this, but that's what's kind of bringing up these emotions that this is a good film. Like through and through, it's a good film. I really liked it. This is just touching on the subject that we're going to get to because I have a lot of hot takes for that, especially if the Oscars play out exactly like we think they're going to play out.
You know what I think it's going to be? It's going to be. Well, I'll wait till later.
That's what I'm saying. Just know that this film's a really good film, and she could have got nominated for Best Director. Why not?
Yeah,
she did. You're right. She did something that most people can't do, where you put a movie out. It's your first time doing it, and it's a fantastic film. Sometimes I get confused on whether something should be a director, like should get nominated for a director or not, because now I know how much a director can have input, or they can just go by the numbers. And Martin Scorsese, he's one of the best, so that's why The Irishman's good.
No, see, that mindset is what's destroying everything.
And like I said, we'll get into it, but just know that this movie is really good. If you're interested in hilarious coming-of-age movies, and
I would honestly put this up there with Superbad. as like a good coming of age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Superbad and so on. Youth in Revolt. That one's a pretty good one.
It's a good film. Backed hard. Watch it.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of our Oscar buzz thing.
Ooh, buzzy.
And looking at movies that are nominated, should have been nominated, etc. This movie definitely should have had,
something.
Yeah. But it's not Martin Scorsese. So.
Well, see, like, I don't know. Exactly. I hate the fact that I have to be like, well, the Golden Globes actually did something good, and they nominated like Booksmart for stuff. It's like, I hate the Golden Globes.
Just watch it.
Booksmart, the movie that we just reviewed, is Olivia Wilde's directorial debut. And what I wanted to talk about this week is like other directors' directorial debut. The ones that either like knocked it out of the park or kind of set up like, oh, we knew like from this, like they're going to be like a great director. Something that I brought up during the review was Sorry to Bother You, which is Boots Riley's directorial debut, which is an amazing film. Honestly, I wish he would make more movies.
What black exploitation films did back in the day, I feel like this is like the new version of it. Mm-hmm. Like something that you would get from someone who's as radical as Boots Riley.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, so it's funny, it's entertaining, it's thought-provoking, it looks really well, it's acted really well.
It's kind of weird.
Everything about it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then everyone and the Academy's like, yeah, but it's not Rami Malek, so he had fake teeth.
Yeah, did Lakeith Stanfield wear fake teeth throughout the whole thing and lip sync? I proved my point. Or Ex Machina, Alex Garland's directorial debut. That movie is amazing. We reviewed it here. Well, we also reviewed Sorry to Bother You. So go back and check those out. But that's a great film too. Like the fact that you can take like 3 characters and make such a like suspense-ridden like film.
One of them's not even supposed to be real.
Yeah, and did you see that?
Where are they?
What was it? Was like Nerdist like named that the dance scene like meme something of the last decade or something. I don't know, something like that. And it's like, oh, well, it makes sense because that scene comes out of like nowhere. Or Hereditary by Ari Aster. It's like this just showed like how great. I mean. Like you said, like you can go online and check out, right? He has a bunch of short films, and you can see like what he did before. But like this really showed like as a director for like a feature film, like oh, he knows what he's doing.
That's the craziest part is that when you watch something like I think it's Meet the Johnsons that came out years ago, it had that little flavor that he still keeps, and then. He went on, I think he did a 2 or 3 more like kind of bigger, like little short films. I believe it's either one before or maybe before that. But that definitely had this like weird, creepy vibe to it. And when you go back and you watch that and it's like, oh shit, so he's always had this in him.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it crazier is that Hereditary feels like this is a Darren Aronofsky making a 5th film, right? Someone who knows what they're doing. They've dealt with this before. They have their maybe they're a little out there and we don't. Their movies are kind of crazy, but his image and his head, he knows how to put on screen.
Yeah,
but the thing is, this is his first full length movie.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like. From here, when we got Midsummer, we're like, whatever he does next is probably going to be amazing. District 9, Neil Blomkamp. Which, see, we really, I think we like him more than other people like him because Chappie, I like Chappie. I thought Chappie wasn't bad. And then what's the other one he did? Elysium, I didn't see that one. Was that good?
Everyone said, that's the one that I want to watch, but I just, like, it never pops up and I don't want to rent it.
Yeah.
But it is like I guess it's sci-fi in the way that I love.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm probably
what
gonna
I
like
hear
it.
too.
But the funniest thing about that too is that as much world building as it does is very like DIY, just like on the cuff, everything. Like it's funny when you go and you look back at these interviews and these little like docs and stuff, and it's like, you mean all this film just like that? Like the main character guy, he's just like a friend, and it's like
Charlie Copley,
it's like what the fuck,
being John Malkovich, Spike Jonze's first film, which I'll say Spike Jonze doesn't make very many films, but when he makes a film, it's usually pretty good. Her's amazing. Where the Wild Things Are is a really good film. I feel like more people need to see that movie. I love that movie. 8th Grade, Bo Burnham. Like I can't honestly, like it's crazy to think like what he started from and then like what he gave us, and it's like now I just want to see more.
Yeah, it is weird because as someone who likes a lot of stand up and stuff, his shit always comes up, and whatever. And he's funny. Like I like him. He's funny. I think there was a point in time where people thought like he was the best stand up comedian. But it's like, he's good, but like
like how they think like John Mulaney now.
Yeah.
He's like, he's the best. He's hilarious.
Like, he's been funny for I don't know, like over like decades now.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. But I've always thought he was entertaining. I thought he was funny. But when you watch 8th Grade, it's almost like that guy but it's not like his, because this is like real, and that but he's funny guy, but he's not this real funny. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's crazy because that movie is so good. Like, and I love that. What's her name? Elsie Fisher. That she's like getting like she was great in Castle Rock this season. Like, I can't wait to see more of her in things like. I'm just so glad when we see like these films that like, so like this person has never done this before, and they just like they give you something so real like with this, and then the next one, mid-90s with Jonah Hill, like we were saying during our review of Booksmarts, like that movie, just because we grew up in the mid in the 90s, but for us, like we see the things that they do, and we're like, yeah, that's the 90s. That's exactly what the 90s was. That's it.
Yeah, when you look at films like 8th Grade and like mid-90s, they're completely different movies, but the reason why I think they're held up so highly is because with 8th Grade, those are real like 8th graders. These are things kids really go through. That's why I was trying to get my sister to watch it, but she's a fucking 8th grader, or she was an 8th grader, so of course she's not going to be like, I want to watch your movie. No, it's not some stupid horror film my friends are talking about, so I'm not going to watch it. And it's like, stupid 8th grader. And the same thing with mid-90s, that felt exactly like everyone I knew. That felt like when I first got into skating.
That's what I'll say too, is like, I love that he didn't just shove like, oh, remember that song from the night? Remember that song from the 90s? Remember this from the night? Like, you do see it a little bit, like, to kind of give you a reference to this is the 90s, like with like I think they show like a Super Nintendo, and they show like some like Ninja Turtle stuff, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not in your face. It's enough to be like, oh yeah, we're in the middle of the 90s right now. Jennifer Kent, The Babadook. The Babadook is a solid film. I think what I love about that film is that she's great at capturing that feeling of dread, of like, because there's that one scene where she's in the bed and the door opens, and she knows that something's there, and she sees, and there's like a figure there, and to me, like, that's always like the creepiest thing, where it's like, what the fuck is that? And you don't want to look, but you're like, I gotta look. Oh, Dawn of the Dead by Zack Snyder, everyone's favorite director. Which honestly, that is there was a time, I think, because like the zombie fatigue we had, where I was like, Dawn of the Dead. But I think now looking back though, after we've finally gotten over like our Walking Deads and World War Z's and, you know, like all those dumb things that we had for the longest time, I think now in retrospect, being further away from it, it's like, yeah, that actually is a really good one, because it kind of started that, like, I know it didn't start the like fast like moving zombies, but because I think that was what 28 Days Later did that, but like this kind of built off of that and built it into like the like Dawn of the Dead like zombie world.
Yeah, like mutated.
Yeah,
they can think and
yeah. Oh, they can think. I think. So at the end of it, I guess what we'll say is, you never know, right? Like, just because I think we should give more directors like chances. Like, we shouldn't just give the same people over and over again just because they're like, well, I earned it because I made a movie back in the 70s, so I get to make all the movies now. It's like, that's ridiculous and old-fashioned thinking. Like, there are so many people who nowadays, they have the ability to show you what they can do, and even people that we didn't know, who like Olivia Wilde, right? And like Jason Bateman, he what was the one he did? Bad Words. That was a really good one. These people that we've seen before that just either acted or they did like other stuff behind the scenes maybe, or produced or something, but then they switch to directing and they can give us these films that are like, oh, I didn't even know we wanted that, or something that like, oh, that's crazy, I never thought to like look at that like this, or even to take a script and they kind of like look at it and they're like, well, I kind of like this idea, but let's change this. And I think that's where a lot of older people need to like move on about, where it's like, look at what these fresh new people do, right? And yeah, to a certain extent, like, I get it. Like, Steven Spielberg had to start somewhere, right? He started with Duel, and then like George Lucas, he started with THX 1138 and American Graffiti. But we're past that now. I think we need to move on to let these new people who are showing us that not only are they giving us a good, like, because I mean, honestly, like, do you know what Duel is, right? Like, just it's, but because it's directed by Steven Spielberg, does that? Oh, that means it's amazing, right? It's like, well, the same thing with Reservoir Dogs. It's like, it's a good movie, but like, does it deserve as much like praise nowadays as it does? I don't know, probably not, because like you can point to so many other movies that these directors have done that you could be like, well, see, these are better films.
Yeah.
These newer filmmakers and their newer films show that, like, hey, maybe we should invest in like Boots Riley, or maybe we should invest in like a Jonah Hill. Like, these people who, or like Jordan Peele showed us that like your roots could be in comedy, but you can give us something so drastically different like Get Out. And like all it takes is just like, hey, yeah, maybe we should look other places, because I guess other people can give us good films too. It's not just the same old, same old.
Theoretically, you're supposed to be able to build your filmography, right? And you get better with every film. And I think when you look back at certain filmmakers, you want to say like, well, their filmography is perfect. I think, especially with someone like Quentin Tarantino, he has that idea that every film he did is fantastic. So he has to end early, because he doesn't want to get old like a Clint Eastwood and end up making something like The Mule. Does that necessarily mean that those films are great? I mean, like we've said, personally, I think his later part of his career is his best. Yeah. Not taking away from those beginning films, but there are people who will say, no, Reservoir Dogs is the best film he ever did. That directorial debut, oh my God, amazing. I think it it captivates people that, oh, that's his first movie. Look how great it is. So nothing can top that. And it's like, I don't know. And I think that that's rare, right? To find. Some people get lucky with people like Alex Garland. He just happened to be able to write these really cool scripts and then said, like, fuck it, I'm just going to make my own movie.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I want to make.
Yeah.
This, like, I'm going to take this into my own hands and then made, like, one of the best sci-fi films of the century. And sure, you could say that that's luck. You could say that, well, it's because he had all this experience prior to, you know, and what, seeing how his films have turned out before, so he knew, you know, whatever. But the thing is, that movie came out and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
His movie after came out and it's fantastic. Like, who knows what else he's gonna do.
I mean, I'm excited to see his show because the show looks weird. It looks kind of like Sunshine, but I mean, Sunshine actually is a good movie. So,
and honestly, this is subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
But these are just films that we see that are like impressive to be a first film. You know, sometimes the first film doesn't necessarily mean their first try at it, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes these people have directed TV shows, they do short films, they help, you know, direct or something, whatever they do. Especially like some of these actors, you know, they're on set all the time, so you could say that helps them more so than someone like you or me who have to start from the bottom and get to that top. But even with all that, some of this shit is super impressive. And you can go and say this first film that Martin Scorsese did is as good as his last film that he did. Because everything he did is amazing. Every single film he did is amazing.
No.
But that's subjective. If you believe it, you believe it.
I guess.
But I will say that so far over the last decade plus, whatever, we've been seeing a lot of these people move into like director roles and start producing these really unique films.
Yeah.
And it's exciting because that's kind of the Hollywood we want. We don't want to have to be told that The Irishman is good. And then you're like, yeah, but where? And they're like, oh, all of it.
But don't you see it's good because he has to struggle with being old now. Don't you remember back in the 60s when John Kennedy just got elected and how bright the world seemed? No, I wasn't born then. Oh, see, you don't get it.
You millennials.
Yeah, you just don't get it.
And like I said, some of those movies have their places, right? People fucking watch, was it Palms? They love that. Old white ladies love that fucking movie.
Which one?
Palms. It's literally about all the old ladies who start to do like cheerleading shit.
Oh.
Like, some of these movies have their audience, but it's exciting when we see this fresh blood, this new blood, and sometimes even old blood stepping into this new position. And it's like, damn, you made this movie? Like, what, this was there the whole time? And that, I guess, makes it more exciting knowing that that's kind of what we're going towards in the future. The fact that we have the Alex Garland who, sure, he can write a script and you might like it, but now he's saying, no, fuck that. I'm taking it into my own hands and I want to direct it. I know what it should look like, so let me do it.
Yeah.
And then making these beautiful, amazing films. And it's like, fuck, yeah. And we talk a lot about, like, Hollywood as it is now and the dumb shit they do. And like we said, we're going to get to the Oscars. After the Oscars comes out, we're going to
put a pin in it, but we're actually going to get to that.
But even with all that, it does feel nice knowing that some of these people that we're seeing right now in the beginning and you know, seeing how they move through, you know, these next couple years, that's going to be old Hollywood one day.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're going to be the ones that be like, hey, you know, I wouldn't write a script like that, but these kids, man, they're really good at what they do.
Instead of what we have now.
Yeah. But with all that, we'll just say thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate it.
Oh,
if you would like, please follow us on any of your streaming apps. You know, iTunes, Google, we're on Spotify, all that stuff.
YouTube.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're on YouTube. Everything gets uploaded there. You can literally find us anywhere that you listen to a podcast. Or you can like us on our social. That's INTB_podcast at Twitter and Instagram. You could DM us. You could comment on stuff. You could add us, whatever.
Yeah.
Or if that's not your thing, you can email us directly at intbpodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, let us know, do you have any favorite first films from your favorite directors? Or
Yeah.
maybe there's a director that you hate, but then you're like, but their first film was pretty good.
Or what do you think about Booksmart? Did you like it? Did you hate it?
Yeah, and if you have some Oscar stuff you want to talk about,
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know. Maybe we'll bring it up, or you know, whatever. It's
Yeah, what do you guys think about this season so far?
yeah, it's gonna be interesting 2 weeks, but like I said, we'll get there and we'll go in depth because, oh boy,
Yeah.
it's like the first time I'm actually on my game this year, and it's like, wait, so the Oscars is like always wrong?
Yeah, yes. This is why I get.
No one ever told me.
Why do you think I get mad like around this time every year? The only time when there was only 2 years in a row where I was like nice and happy. It was when Moonlight won, and then when Shape of Water won, because it was like, oh, they actually did something correct.
But we'll get to it, guys. Don't worry. But as always, remember,
It's not that bad.
it's not that bad.